Warning. Actonville TV disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the host, authors, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any religious affiliation.
Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, Sairam, Jai Shri Ram, Swamiye Saramayappa. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. You're currently streaming live with us in Malaysia South on Actonville TV. This is a show called The Journey, and it's all about exploring Hinduism as a whole. For those of you that don't know me, I'm your host, Kimera, Heeralal, taking you through a full hour of spiritual upliftment and learnings. If you want to interact with us in studio today, please do so by contacting us in our comment section, as you can drop a message right there. Or if you wish to keep your views, comments, and beliefs anonymous, you're welcome to use our WhatsApp line, which you'll find at the bottom right of your screen throughout the entire show. Excuse me. So, as we open up the show this evening, you know that before we talk about any of our work, before we do anything, we must give praise and thanks to Lord Ganesha first. But before we get to it, for those of you just joining us, remember this show is for the first time. If it's touching your eyes for the first time, reaching your eyes for the first time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done it already. Now remember, this is a learning platform, a platform for educating others, especially those who don't know much about Hinduism or those who just want to learn about Hinduism. You can also interact with me in studio today since we are live. You can share your views, share your beliefs, and remember one thing I need to teach you about religion and culture. This is not a platform for arguing or fighting. You may have your beliefs, I may have mine, the director can have his, but we are all here to teach, and we're here for one thing, to uplift the culture and religion and teach it. Okay, so remember last week we did like all of the Puranas. We covered the Garuda Purana. We managed to go further with the Shiva Purana, the Vishnu Purana, the Bhagavata Purana, the Skanda Purana. And yesterday was a nice cover of the rise of Hinduism. Yesterday and the day before. So Monday and Tuesday was the rise of Hinduism. And then yesterday was the rise of Hinduism part 2. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today we are doing the origins of Jainism. If you're wondering how we ended up there, you have to backtrack to yesterday's episode, as it was the discussion of the rise of Hinduism ended off with how Buddhism and Jainism came about and how they all go hand in hand with one another. Now, in order for us to continue our teachings of Hinduism, we must talk about the origins of Jainism. Now, before we continue with that, ladies and gentlemen, you know in Hinduism you must open up any prayer or any ritual or anything that you do by giving thanks and praise to Lord Ganesha first. And helping us do that this evening, we have to invite Edward Reddy, a legendary devotional singer, to our screens as he'll help us open up our show this evening. Let's do it.
பெரியோர்களே, தாய்மார்களே, எல்லாருக்கும் என் அன்புள்ள வணக்கம். My humble greetings to one and all. Our opening invocation to Lord Ganesha to commence the program. வேழும் தன்முகமாகி வினை தீக்கும் திருக்கரங்கள், வேழும் தன்முகமாகி வினை தீக்கும் திருக்கரங்கள், வாழ்விக்கும் திருவயிறே விக்னேசன் திருத்தோட்டம், வாழ்விக்கும் திருவயிறே விக்னேசன் திருத்தோட்டம். கணநாதா கணீசா கணநாதா கணீசா முள்ளும் இருக்கும் மலரும் சூட்டி கொண்டு மழுபவனே, ஆற்றில் அருளும் திருளும் பொருளும் வெள்ளி கொள்ள தருபவனே, அழுகும் முள்ளும் இருக்கும் மலரும் சூட்டி கொண்டு மழுபவனே, ஆற்றில் அருளும் திருளும் பொருளும் வெள்ளி கொள்ள தருபவனே, சித்தி கணபதி புத்தி கணபதி எத்தனை வடிவம் பெற்றவனே, கணபதி புத்தி கணபதி எத்தனை வடிவம் பெற்றவனே, வருவாயே கணநாதா அருள்வாயே குணநாதா, வருவாயே கணநாதா அருள்வாயே குணநாதா. வேழும் தன்முகமாகி வினை தீக்கும் திருக்கரங்கள், வேழும் தன்முகமாகி வினை தீக்கும் திருக்கரங்கள், வாழ்விக்கும் திருவயிறே விக்னேசன் திருத்தோட்டம், வாழ்விக்கும் திருவயிறே விக்னேசன் திருத்தோட்டம். கணநாதா கணீசா கணநாதா கணீசா சதுர்த்தி பூஜை செய்தால் நற்பல தந்து அருள்வானே, நாளும் பொழுதும் நம்பிக்கை வைத்தால் சீரும் சிறுப்பும் தருவானே, நாயகன் சதுர்த்தி பூஜை செய்தால் நற்பல தந்து அருள்வானே, நாளும் பொழுதும் நம்பிக்கை வைத்தால் சீரும் சிறுப்பும் தருவானே, வீர கணபதி வெற்றி கணபதி எத்தனை வடிவம் பெற்றவனே, கணபதி வெற்றி கணபதி எத்தனை வடிவம் பெற்றவனே, வருவாயே கணநாதா அருள்வாயே குணநாதா, வருவாயே கணநாதா அருள்வாயே குணநாதா. வேழும் தன்முகமாகி வினை தீக்கும் திருக்கரங்கள், வேழும் தன்முகமாகி வினை தீக்கும் திருக்கரங்கள், வாழ்விக்கும் திருவயிறே விக்னேசன் திருத்தோட்டம், வாழ்விக்கும் திருவயிறே விக்னேசன் திருத்தோட்டம். கணநாதா
Jai Ganesha, what a beautiful way to open up our show this evening, ladies and gentlemen, as you just saw legendary South Indian singer Edward Reddy as he just praised Lord Ganesha. And as discussing Edward Reddy on TV, we've got Ravi Naga Naidu coming in through YouTube with lots of love. Namaskaram to everyone. What better way to kickstart the show with my brother, the legend Edward Reddy. Thank you so much for that, Ravi Naga Naidu. And namaskaram to you too, sir. Welcome to the show. As you always support us, we're truly grateful. Now, for those of you just joining us and you are watching the show for the first time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done it already. You are watching Atonville TV. It's for everyone. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to continue with our topic today, finishing and continuing from yesterday. A lot of people are wondering, why is it called the origins of Jainism? For those of you who don't understand how it goes into Hinduism, well, we're going to educate you today. This is an educational platform. We're discussing, from Monday, we did the rise of Hinduism. Then on Tuesday, we did the rise of Hinduism part 2. And then today, because of yesterday's conversation ending off with, or should I say yesterday's teachings rather, not conversation, we ended off with Hinduism as how it broke into where Buddhism originated from, and then Jainism came about. So we're going to talk about the origins of Jainism, and this is episode 131 if you are making notes, and if you do use our channel to learn. I hope we help. So let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with the origins of Jainism.
Get legendary Edward Reddy's music, now available on all music platforms like iTunes, Spotify, and more.
Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, Sai Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Swami Saranamayappa. Welcome back, everybody. Alright, now for those of you just joining us, we said that we're discussing the origins of Jainism. If you missed the beginning of the show and a little bit of a brief of a summary basically of what we're talking about today, how it got to this topic, please watch this link from the beginning again, or you can watch Monday's show, Tuesday's show, and then today's show. Please and thank you. Alright, so we're talking about the origins of Jainism, right? So continuing from yesterday's episode, like I said, we were discussing the rise of Hinduism part 2. Now today's episode is 131 if you're looking for it later on the YouTube channel. Let's start off with Jainism. Now before I invite anybody to our screens or to join us with their teachings and their understandings and their beliefs, I would like to offer the public to interact with us in studio today and tell us a bit about what they think of Jainism, or where does it actually come from. As we open up the show, we got Jermaine Naidu coming in through YouTube. Vanakkam dear, thank you for joining us on the show. It's an honor and a pleasure to always have you on our screens. Alright, so let's start with Jainism. Jermaine, Ravi, if you're still there, please join the conversation, right? And if you caught yesterday's shows, you'll be able to interact with us and make things make sense during our teachings. Okay. Alright, so before it gets a bit too complicated, continuing from the rise of Hinduism, we decided to move on to the origins of Jainism. Now Jainism, okay, it's also known as Jain Dharma, for those of you that didn't know, right? And just remember, I am English speaking, so you will have to forgive me if I butcher any of the words as I speak to you or teach you, right? Okay, so Jainism now, like I said, it's also called Jain Dharma, is an Indian religion, for those of you that didn't know. Right? And Jainism traces its spiritual ideas and history through the succession of 24 Tirthankaras, meaning the supreme teachers of Dharma, with the first in the current time cycle being Rishabhadeva, whom the tradition holds to have lived millions of years ago. The 23rd Tirthankara, Pashvavanatha, whom historians date to the 9th century BCE, and the 24th Tirthankara Mahivira around 600 BCE. Now, Jainism is considered an eternal dharma, alright? And this is with the Tirthankaras guiding every time circle of the cosmology. I mean the three main pillars, if you know about this, And the three main pillars of Jainism are ahimsa, means non-violence. The second one is anakantavada, that means non-absolutism. And aparigraha is asceticism, a word that we use quite often on the show. Alright, so let's talk about, we're still on the origins of Jainism. Let's talk about Jain monks, right? Jain monks take 5 main vows when they follow Jainism. So the main vows are ahimsa, non-violence; satya, means truth; asteya, not stealing; brahmacharya, chastity; and aparigraha, non-possessiveness. Now these principles have affected Jain culture in many, many ways, such as leading to predominantly lacto-vegetarian lifestyle, and also the parasparoga, forgive my mispronunciation, the parasparapagara jivanam, meaning the function of the souls is to help one another. It is the faith's motto, and the Namokar mantra is its most common and strongest prayer. We've got Neela Mudli coming in. Vanakkam. Thank you to Edward Reddy for linking me to you. Thank you so much. Vanakkam to you, Neela Mudli. Thanks for joining the show. Welcome. For those of you that missed what happened from Monday, we did part 1, Rise of Hinduism, and then yesterday was part 2 of Rise of Hinduism, and that's what led us to talk about the origins of Jainism today. I hope you will be able to catch the other episodes, Neela Mudli, in your own time. Now, this is episode 131, so you can start from 129 to understand this episode and its teaching. So I hope you will subscribe to our channel, Neela, and join us every single weekday as we are live from 7 p.m. Okay, so as Jainism now is one of the oldest religions still practiced today, right? And it has 2 major ancient sub-traditions, which is called the Digambaras and the Swatambaras, which hold different views on ascetic practices. And it also has different views on gender, and the text considered canonical. So both sub-traditions have mendicants supported by laypersons, like your Shravakas and your Shravikas, and there are many different traditions with Jainism. But remember, I wanted to share with you that Jainism is an Indian religion and culture, and I wanted to teach you the origins. Now, coming up next, I decided to not only keep this in South Africa, I wanted to invite Shashi Gosai, who's all the way in London, ladies and gentlemen, and I asked her to teach me her views, her beliefs, and I asked her to tell us, what is Jainism? Or what is the Jain religion about? Tell us about Jain Dharma, which I just shared with you, and also the Jainism course. Let's take a look.
Namaste, I'm Shashi Gosai. Now, Hinduism dates back more than 5,000 years. And during its long history, there have been other religions that use the basis of Hinduism, but took off a few ideas, made a few modifications, and evolved into a new religion. One such religion is Jainism, which evolved around 6 BCE. In 2005, the Indian government ruled that the minority religions, for example, Sikhism, Buddhism, and Jainism, is part of the major Hindu fold of religions because it originated from the Indic areas. On 30th January 2014, the government of India awarded the status of minority religion to the Jain community in India. Jain is derived from the Sanskrit word called Ji, meaning to conquer. It refers to a person who's conquered his inner passions, which is anger, attachment, pride, and greed, and got infinite knowledge. This enlightened person is called a Jina, and the followers are called Jains. Jainism, which has approximately 6 million followers, is considered the most peace-loving religion in the world because of its strict doctrines against non-violence. Jains do not have a historical founder. The first Jain was Pershava in the 7th century BC, who founded a community that was based on the abandonment of all desires and possessions. The main differences between Hinduism and Jainism are: Jains promoted asceticism, they abandoned the Vedic rituals, and they renounced the domestic and social action. Jainism core belief is based on liberating the soul. They believe that the body and soul are two separate entities, and you can liberate the soul by leading a life of renunciation and harmlessness. The spiritual ideas were guided through 24 leaders, with Lord Mahavira, the last Tirankara, who gave the present form of Jain philosophy around 6 BCE. Mahavira was the son of a chieftain of the Kshatriya or warrior class. At the age of 30, he renounced his princely status to take up the ascetic life, and he spent the next 12 and a half years following a path of solitary and intense asceticism. He converted 11 disciples called Gandharas, who further spread the teachings. Mahavira is believed to have died near modern Patna. Two of his disciples, that's Indrabhuti Gautama and Sudharma, who both survived Mahavira, are regarded as the founders of the historical Jain monastic community. And the third, Jambu, is believed to be the last person to gain enlightenment. All Tiranthakaras were born as normal human beings, but they achieved the state of perfection or enlightenment through meditation and self-realization. They then became the spiritual leaders of the Jains. The main principles of the Jain Dharma are non-violence, many-sidedness, non-attachment, abstinence from sensual pleasures. Devout Jains take 5 vows. Firstly, non-violence, truth, not stealing, celibacy, and non-possessiveness. Now let's have a look at some of the Jain beliefs. So firstly, the supreme rule is non-violence. Every act by which a person directly or indirectly supports killing or injury is seen as an act of violence, which creates harmful reaction or karma. They are strict vegetarians. Strict Jains do not even eat root vegetables, for example, potatoes, onions, roots, and tubers, to prevent injury to small insects or microorganisms, and also to prevent the entire plant getting uprooted and killed, since the bulb is seen as a living being as is able to sprout. Jains will wear a mask and will take great pain to ensure that they do not harm or kill any living animal, including insects. Thirdly, humans, plants, and animals contain living souls. Each soul is of equal value and should be treated equally with respect. The function of souls is to help each other. This makes them more emotionally intelligent. They develop empathy with whoever they meet. They're forbidden to drink alcohol due to its detrimental effect on the mind and soul. Fasting is a way of life to enter the mentality of self-discipline to control the hunger and overcome desires. Fourthly, there are no gods or spiritual beings that will help humans. It is based on self-help. All souls who have achieved the natural state of infinite bliss, infinite knowledge, infinite power, infinite perception are regarded as God in Jainism. Fifthly, they believe in reincarnation and seek to attain ultimate liberation or the release of birth, life, rebirth cycle, to accumulate good karma that leads to better rebirth and a step towards liberation. The immortal soul lives forever in a state of bliss. Sixthly, the liberation or moksha of the soul can be achieved through paths of 4 jewels. Correct view, which is faith, accepting truth of the soul. Correct knowledge, undoubting knowledge of the tattvas. Correct conduct, behave according to the 5 vows. Correct asceticism, which is belief in ascetic practices. Jains believe that it is possible for a human to attain knowledge of self and universe through a 6th sense of the mind. The exact procedures are written in the sacred texts. Number 8, they do not believe that universe was created but was always there. Number 9, they do not believe there's a creator, governor, judge, or a destroyer of the universe. Number 10, Jainism has no priest. They're led by monks and nuns who lead a very strict ascetic life. Their daily prayers can be done at home or in wooden temples and largely focus on chanting mantras. It has 2 main divisions. Digambaras who reject clothes and live naked as they're not allowed to have any possessions in order to live a totally ascetic life. The nuns wear simple white clothes. The Shwetambaras who wear thin white robes. Monks and nuns depend on charity. It's the duty of each Jain to provide food and basic necessities to the monks and nuns. They're only allowed to eat between sunrise and sunset. The heads of monks are bald because each strand is pulled out as a form of penance. They believe that the soul has three qualities: consciousness, bliss, and vibrational energy. The vibrational energy draws karmic particles which gets attached to the soul, which travels with the soul in rebirths. The cycle of rebirths have a definite beginning and end. So what is Jain philosophy? So the Jain philosophy recognizes that the universe is made up of souls or living beings called jiva, time and space are jiva, matter which is aggregate containing color, taste, smell or touch. Karma flows through the soul called asrava. Karma gets attached to the soul which is called bandha. Forms of good activity which is punya. Forms of bad activity which is called pap. The fact that flowing of karma should be blocked is samvara. The fact that karma that has flowed in should be annihilated, which is nirjara. The fact that once all karmas have been eliminated, final liberation from the cycle of rebirths takes place, which is called moksha. Self-realization or the absolute truth is the path to salvation. Jains believe that we go through 8.4 million lives, which is the cycle of samsara, the cycle of life and rebirth, through 5 types of bodies: earth bodies, water bodies, fire bodies, air bodies, and vegetable life. Harming any form of life is considered a sin with negative karmic effects. Souls evolve to a higher or regress to a different state according to the karmas. And if any act has been done by evil intentions, the soul will never be liberated. And the liberated soul will attain moksha and will stay there forever. Jains believe time is eternal without a beginning. The cosmic cycle of time rotates non-stop. The interaction of time with the universe, our bodies and matter is what dictates our life, our rebirth and moksha. Jains believe that the correct knowledge is based on perception, inference and the testimony, which is the word of the scriptures. Knowledge is further divided into 5 kinds: enlightenment, scriptural knowledge, sensory knowledge, clairvoyance and telepathy. Well, that was Jainism, which although evolved from Hinduism, has got its own distinct qualities and principles. I hope you enjoyed listening to a little bit of Hinduism. This is Shashi Gosai in London. Thank you.
What a beautiful delivery from Shashi Gosai all the way in London. Thank you so much for assisting me with our teachings today of the origins of Jainism and talking about what Jainism is about. Thank you so much, Shashi Gosai. We really appreciate you. As we also have lots of love coming in through YouTube, as we have Ravi Nagar Naidu coming in through YouTube, as he says, a not bad pronunciation, Kimster. I'm impressed. Then we have a Jermaine Naidu saying, wow, so interesting. And Edward Reddy, Vanakam all. Well, ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, as we want to keep you well entertained as well as spiritually uplifted while we are educating you, let's uplift you with Praveen Mudli as he's coming up next and hitting our screens with Narasimha Narayana.
నరసింహని దివ్య నామ మంత్రము చేత దురిత జలములేల ధోలవచ్చు నరసింహని దివ్య నామ మంత్రము చేత బలువైన రోగముల్ పాపవచ్చు నరసింహని దివ్య నామ మంత్రము చేత రిపు సంగములు సంహరింపవచ్చు నరసింహని దివ్య నామ మంత్రము చేత దందాస్తుని భంద్ర ధరము వచ్చు బైరనీనే మహమంత్ర బలము చేత దివ్య వైకుంఠ పాదవీస ధింపవచ్చు భూషణ వికాస శ్రీధర్మాపుర నివాస దుస్త సంహార నరసింహ దురతి ధోరా గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ భక్తవాత్సల వేణుగోపాల గోవింద గోవింద నరసింహ దేవ భక్తవాత్సల వేణుగోపాల గోవింద గోవింద నరసింహ దేవ హరి గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ జ్వల నరసింహ దేవ భక్త ప్రహ్లాద గోవింద గోవింద నరసింహ దేవ జ్వల నరసింహ దేవ భక్త ప్రహ్లాద గోవింద గోవింద నరసింహ దేవ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ జై జగన్నాథ గోవింద గోవింద నరసింహ దేవ లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ జై జగన్నాథ గోవింద గోవింద నరసింహ దేవ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ గోవింద గోవింద లక్ష్మీ నరసింహ హరి హరి నారాయణ హరి హరి పాండురంగ గోవింద గోవింద నరసింహ దేవ హరి హరి నారాయణ హరి హరి పాండురంగ గోవింద గోవింద నరసింహ దేవ నారాయణ నమ్మితి హరి గోవింద నారాయణ నమ్మితి 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 నారాయణ నమ్మితి హరి పాండురంగ నారాయణ నమ్మితి నారాయణ నమ్మితి హరి గోవింద నారాయణ నమ్మితి నరసింహదేవ హరి నారాయణ నారాయణ నరసింహదేవ హరి నారాయణ 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 నారాయణ హరి నారాయణ హరి నారాయణ హరి నరసింహదేవ నారాయణ హరి నారాయణ హరి నారాయణ హరి నరసింహదేవ Hari Om, 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 Hari Om.
Govinda, Govinda. Beautiful rendition and delivery by Praveen Mudli, as you just saw. Narasimha Narayana. As we continue with our teachings on the origins of Jainism, I would like to share the viewers and comments coming in through YouTube before we cut to commercial. We got lots of love coming in this evening. We've got. Let's start off where I stopped. Okay, so we got Neela Mudli coming in. Thank you. What an incredible insight. Edward Reddy, thanks my brother Ravi for that awesome compliment. Neela Mudli coming in through YouTube as well with her love, as she says, love this, very spiritual and uplifting. Thank you, doll. Thank you, Neela. I'm not sure how old you are, but thank you for joining the show. If you are older than me, I should have addressed you as Auntie Neela. But we also got Edward Reddy, an absolute beautiful rendition by Praveen, one of my favorites. He continues to say, thanks my sister Neela for your love and support always. Neela says, love your voice and lyrics. Edward Reddy, a beautiful and awesome show. Kimera, thank you so much, Mr. Reddy. I really appreciate it. And we've got Neela Mudli. This is what everyone needs. Yes, to be spiritually uplifted, Neela. Don't you agree? Let's take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we'll talk about the origins of Jainism, and we're moving on to, on the same topic, we will discuss the main principles. As you know, Shashi Gosai just touched on it. I just touched on it. We just mentioned the titles, but we didn't go into depth with it. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue.
See flooring differently. Innova Floor Santan. Contact us today.
Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, Sai Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Swami Saranamayappa. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the show. Those of you just joining us, yes, you are a little late, as we do start streaming live at 7 o'clock on the dot. Please excuse me for my attire. I came straight from work. It's been a hot day. Yeah, I wish that the director just artificial lighted me up and polished it up. Just teasing. Alright, let's get back into it, guys. We're talking about the origins of Jainism right here on Actonville TV, called The Journey Show, Exploring Hinduism. Don't forget, you can comment in the comment section and share your views, share your beliefs, share your thoughts. If you don't agree with my teachings, there's no reason to fight. Just share your view and your belief in what you were taught growing up, or what you know that are facts. And you know what, I stand corrected. I don't know everything. You can help me to better the teachings of the Journey Show as we explore Hinduism. And yeah, we can do this as a team. Don't forget, if you want to share info with us and you want to stay anonymous, you can do that just by using our WhatsApp line, which you'll find at the bottom right of your screen throughout the entire show. All right, guys, let's get back into it now. We're looking at the main principles now, as I just mentioned, right? So the main principles, as you know, as we quickly mentioned, Shashi Gosai and myself, we mentioned that the principles are, there's 4 things: non-violence, many-sided reality, non-attachment, and Jain ethics and vows, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the non-violence first, which is also called ahimsa. We also got many-sided reality, which is also known as Ankartavada. And then we've got non-attachment, which is called Aparigraha. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about Jain ethics and vows, meaning the 5 vows, right? Okay, so let's look at the non-violence part, the ahimsa. Okay, now the principle of ahimsa is the fundamental tenet of Jainism. It holds that one must abandon all violence activity, and that without such a commitment to non-violence, all religious behavior will be worthless. So, in Jain theology, it does not matter how correct or defensible, excuse me, the violence may be. One must not kill or harm any being, and non-violence is the highest religious duty. That's that. Okay? That's it and that's all. No discussions, nothing. So, in Jain texts, such as the Akaranga Sutra, I also like to call it the Akaranga Sutra. I'm still learning to pronounce these words as I teach it. And there's also another text called the Tatvartu Sutra. It actually states that one must renounce all killing of living beings, whether tiny or large, movable or immovable. Its theology teaches that one must neither kill another living being, nor cause another to kill, nor consent to kill any killing directly or indirectly. Okay, I hope this message has gotten through to you. So, furthermore, Jainism emphasizes non-violence against all beings, not only in action but also in speech and in thought. Okay, it states that instead of hate or violence against anyone, all living creatures must help each other. It's something that you need to learn if you haven't learned it, right? Jains also believe that violence they believe that violence negatively affects and destroys your soul. Okay, so even just thinking it, you're hurting your soul. Okay, so particularly when the violence is done with intent, hate or carelessness, or when one indirectly causes or consents to the killing of a human or non-human living being. The doctrine exists in Hinduism and Buddhism, right? But it is mostly highly developed in Jainism. The theological basis of non-violence as the highest religious duty has been interpreted by some Jain scholars not to be driven by merit but from giving or compassion to other creatures, nor a duty to rescue all creatures, but resulting from continual self-discipline. A cleansing of the soul that leads to one's own spiritual development, which ultimately affects one's salvation and release from rebirths. Jains believe that causing injury to any being in any form creates bad karma, which affects one's rebirth, future, well-being, and causes suffering. Late medieval Jain scholars re-examined the ahimsa, as we're calling it, non-violence, ahimsa. Late medieval Jain scholars examined the ahimsa, the doctrine, when faced with external threat or violence. For example, they justified violence by monks to protect the nuns. Yeah. So according to Dundas, the Jain scholar Janadatsuri wrote during a time of destruction of temples and persecution that anybody engaged in a religious activity who was forced to fight and kill somebody would not lose any spiritual merit, but instead attain deliverance. However, examples in Jain texts that condone fighting and killing under certain circumstances are relatively rare. Interact with us in studio today as we're learning and continuing to learn about Jainism. And at the moment, if you're wondering what we are discussing under the Jainism topic, we are talking about the main principles, and I just finished non-violence, ahimsa. Okay, let's move forward to the many-sided reality, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the many-sided reality, also known as the Anekantavada. So, the many-sided reality. Now, this is the second main principle of Jainism. And it's from the Anekanta, meaning the many-sidedness. The Vada, they call it the Vada doctrine, right? And the doctrine states that truth and reality are complex and always have multiple aspects. It further states that reality can be experienced but cannot be fully expressed with language. It suggests that human attempts to communicate are naya, meaning partial expression of the truth. Now, according to it, one can experience the taste of truth, but cannot fully express that taste through a language, And it holds that attempts to express experience and are basically syat meaning or valid or in some respect, right? But it remains perhaps just one perspective incomplete. It includes that in the same way, spiritual truths can be experienced but not fully expressed. It suggests that the great error is belief in ikanta, meaning the one-sidedness, or one-sidedness rather, where some relative truth is treated as absolute. The doctrine is ancient, everyone. It's very ancient. It's found in Buddhist texts, such as, you get the Samannapala Sutta. Yes. Now, the Jain Agamas suggest that Mahavira's approach to answering all metaphysical, philosophical questions was a qualified yes, svat. These texts identify Anekantavada as a key difference from the Buddha's teachings. The Buddha taught the middle way, rejecting extremes of the answer, it is or it is not, to the metaphysical questions. The Mahavira, in contrast, taught his followers to accept both it is and it is not, qualified with perhaps. Now, this is to understand the absolute reality, guys. I don't know if these teachings are making sense now. If you've watched the other episodes where we covered Buddhism, we covered so much to get to this point, and if it's not making sense, it means I'm either not doing my job properly or you didn't pay attention to everything we've built at this point in our teachings. Excuse me. Okay, so according to Paul Dundas now, okay, in contemporary times, the Anekantavada doctrine has been interpreted by some Jains as attending to promote a universal religious tolerance, right? But they also say there's a teaching of plurality and benign attitude to others, meaning like your ethical and your religious, right, positions. Now, the Dundas states that this is a misreading of historical texts and Mahavira's teachings. Now, according to him, the many-pointedness, multiple perspectives, teachings of the Mahavira is about the nature of absolute reality in human existence. And he claims that this is not about condoning activities such as killing animals for food, nor violence against disbelievers or any other living beings as perhaps right. So the five vows for Jain monks and nuns, for example, are strict requirements, and there's no perhaps about them. Similarly, since ancient times, Jainism coexisted with Buddhism and Hinduism according to the Dundas. But Jainism disagreed in specific areas with the knowledge systems and beliefs of those traditions and vice versa. As we're going to continue with the main principles of the origins of Jainism, coming up next, we will move to the next topic. But before we do, here's your Kiran and Nivi keeping us well entertained. Don't forget where we stopped, guys. We're talking about the main principles. We spoke about non-violence, which was the first principle, ahimsa, and the second one we just finished now was many-sided reality, also called the Anekantavada. We're going to continue with non-attachment next. Keep that in your Bibles or your textbooks, or if you got a diary there. So it was non-violence, many-sided reality. We're going to move on to non-attachment. But first, let's keep you spiritually uplifted, since that was too much to absorb. Here is Kiran and Nivi from the United States of America as well. They'll sing for you Satyam Shivam Sundaram.
ईश्वर सत्य है, सत्य है, शिव है, शिव ही सुंदर है, जागो उठ कर देखो, जीवन जो तू जागर है, सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम, सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम, सत्यम शिवम सत्य है सुंदर सत्य ही शिव है सुंदर शिव ही सुंदर है सत्यं शिवं सुंदरं सत्यं शिवं सुंदरं एक सूर्य है एक सूर्य है एक गगन है एक ही धरती माता दया करो प्रभु एक बने सब दया करो प्रभु एक बने सब सबका एक से नाता राधा मोहन शरणं सत्यं शिवं सुंदरं सत्यं शिवं सुंदर ईश्वर सत्य है सत्य ही शिव है शिव ही सुंदर है सत्यं शिवं सुंदरं सत्यं शिवं सुंदरं सत्यं शिवं सुंदरं सत्यं शिवं सुंदरं
Hari Hari Mahadev! What a beautiful delivery by Kiran and Nidhi all the way in the United States of America as they just sung for you Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Hope you guys enjoyed that. When we come back, we'll continue our teachings with the origins of Jainism as we're currently discussing the main principles of Jainism. Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, Sai Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Swamiye Saranamayappa. Welcome back, everybody. Alright, for those of you just joining us, and for those of you that have joined us, a very difficult topic today. And some of the learnings, for those of you that are not interested, it may seem a bit boring, but I beg of you to please stay tuned to, because if you don't learn this part of the Hinduism journey and exploring it with me, the rest of the shows will not make sense. So we're teaching it in an order where everything makes sense, you know. So forgive me if you did not enjoy this episode. It's my first time teaching Jainism properly, and I would love for you to interact with me in studio today. If you are following Jainism and if you'd like to share your views, comments and beliefs, please do drop us a comment in the comment section. As you know, it's right there. And if you wish to keep your views, comments and beliefs anonymous, you're welcome to use our WhatsApp line at the bottom right of the screen. Alright guys, as you know, it's a very hot day in Johannesburg today as we are educating on the business of Jainism. We're currently in the teachings and speaking about the main principles of Jainism. So we went through non-violence already, also known as Ahimsa, and then we went through the many-sided reality, which is also known as the Ankantavada. Now, let's talk about the non-attachment. Non-attachment, also known as the aparigraha. Right? Now, this is the third main principle in Jainism, guys. Okay. And it is the aparigraha, which means non-attachment or to worldly possessions, right? For monks, this is for monks and nuns, and Jainism requires a vow of complete non-possession of any property, relations, and emotions. Okay, so this ascetic is a wandering mendicant in the Digambara tradition, right? Or you could say a resident mendicant in the Svatambara tradition. For Jain laypersons, it recommends limited possession of that has been honestly. Now, according to Nathubai Shah, aparigraha applies to both the material and psychic. Okay? And material possessions refer to various forms of property, like your psychic possessions refer to emotions, likes and dislikes, and attachments of any form. Unchecked attachment to possessions is said to result in direct harm to one's personality. Now, let's move on to the last main principle, right? We're going to call it Jain ethics and the 5 vows. Now, Jainism teaches the 5 ethics. It's also called the 5 vows, like I said. Now, these are called anuvratras, meaning small vows for Jain laypersons, and the mahavratas, great vows for Jain mendicants. Now, for both, its moral precepts preface that the Jain has access to a guru, meaning a teacher or counselor, and deva, meaning the Jinnah or God. Doctrine, and that the individual is free from 5 offenses of faith: indecisiveness about the truths of Jainism, sincere desire for Jain teaching, recognition of fellow Jains, and admiration for other or for their spiritual suit. Such a person undertakes the following 5 vows of Jainism. 1. Ahimsa. 2. Satya. 3. Asteya. 4. Brahmacharya. 5. Aparigraha. Now, for those of you that don't know the meaning, 1. Ahimsa means intentional non-violence or non-injury. 2. Satya, meaning truth. 3. Asteya means not stealing. 4. Brahmacharya, meaning celibacy. 5. Aparigraha means non-possessiveness. You've just learned the main principles of Jainism, ladies and gentlemen. Now, as we're just finishing off and closing the show on the readings of Jainism, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did, learning about Jainism, Buddhism, how they all came to be about on this earth. Was a beautiful experience and journey for me. Well, let's take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, as we do every day towards the end of every show, we must do one principle from the 108 principles of the value system from the Heeralal. But before we do, let's take a quick break.
Get your business to the next level. Advertise on TV. Contact Kimera.
Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, Sairam, Jai Sri Ram, Swami Saranayappa. Welcome back, everybody. Alright, so it's come to the time where we have to cover the 108 principles of the value system from the Heeralal. Today's lesson, we're sitting at number 50.
Today's lesson from the 108 principles of the value system from the Heeralal is number 50. Practice listening.
For those of you who are looking for a guru to perform certain rituals and services which you can't do by yourself, you can contact Guru Dresan, as he can assist you with the following: the Jandagam astrological readings, the Panjagam, the Navagraha Shanti, house prayers, business prayers, car prayers, temple and hall weddings, ceremonies like your 16 days and your 1 year, Janda prayer, auspicious Hawans, as well as your Kumbha Abhishekams. Please contact Guru Indresan on 081 325 0115. I'll give you the number again. It's 081 325 0115. For those of you who are looking for more services than what has just been listed, you can contact Guru Prega, as he does, most of the services that Guru Indresan does, but a little bit more. He also assists with the astrological readings, the spiritual cleansings, cleansing prayers, business prayers, your car prayers, your temple weddings, your funerals, the ceremonies like your 16 days, your auspicious ones, and he can assist and help you with your trance. He does perform all different types of prayers. Very, very well done, I must say. Your car prayers, your body prayers, your midnight prayers, your Murugan prayers, and lots more. Basically, I'd like to say Guru Prega can assist you with all prayers. Please contact Guru Prega on 082 578 3833. I'll give you the number again. It's 082 578 3833. Well, that's all the time we have for this evening, folks. Please, let's do this again tomorrow night, same time, same place, at 7 p.m. As you know, we go live every single weekday and we teach and explore Hinduism together. All right, for those of you who don't know about Actonville TV and their shows, this is not the only show on Actonville TV, guys. Early in the morning, we want to make you guys laugh and give you a bit of a variety show with great humor. We've got pranks that happen there. We've got English music. We keep it vibey. We mix it up. It's not just English music. It's a mixture of different types of music. A brilliant show, and it's called The Crack of Dawn. We have lots of laughs I have guest hosts as well. I've got Robbie the Maestro as well as Papa Nish in the building. So the three of us will probably rock your world early in the morning as we send positive vibes through your screens. Check this out.
Join us tomorrow morning on The Crack of Dawn, 8 a.m., streaming across 77 platforms.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, folks. I'll see you guys tomorrow night, 7 p.m. From myself, Kimera, Heeralal. Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, Sai Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Swami Saranamayappa. Good night, everyone.